This is Biscuit. He's a small, fluffy ginger cockapoo with big, sparkling eyes and a constantly wagging tail. Biscuit is curious and adventurous, and he loves to sniff, chase, and explore everything. He turns every day into a silly, exciting adventure. Sometimes his clumsiness gets him into trouble, but no matter what, his big heart and love for his friends always shine through. It was a bright, sunny day in the park, and Biscuit was having fun playing with his best friends, a squirrel named Sammy, a rabbit called Rosie, and a little bird called Tweety. They were chasing each other round a large oak tree when suddenly a gust of wind swept through the park, ruffling Biscuit's fur and making the leaves dance around him. "Ooh, what's that?" Biscuit barked, pointing his nose toward the sky. High above them, dancing in the breeze, was a large kite. It was bright red, blue, and yellow, and seemed to shimmer with all the colors of the rainbow. It soared up and down, left and right, dipping and diving in a way that made Biscuit's tail wag faster than ever. "Wow, look at that," whispered Rosie, her nose twitching. "I've never seen anything like it before." "It looks like a giant, magical bird," said Biscuit, his eyes wide with wonder. "We have to catch it." Before his friends could say a word, Biscuit was off, bolting across the grass with his tongue lolling out and his paws pounding the ground. He leaped over a park bench, nearly knocking over a woman taking a nap, then zigged between the legs of the picnicking children, making them giggle as he went by. Sammy, Rosie, and Tweety watched him go, shaking their heads in amusement. "After him," shouted Sammy, scampering up the oak tree to get a better view. And with that, the chase was on. Across the park, Biscuit skidded to a halt when he saw the kite dip low. He crouched down, then shot forward, leaping into the air and grabbing onto the string with his teeth. For a moment, he hung there, dangling above the ground, before yanking on the string so hard that he tumbled end over end until he landed in a soft flower bed. Shaking himself off, Biscuit bolted after the kite again, leaping over a stone path and racing across a bridge over a babbling brook. On the other side, the kite took another dive, and this time Biscuit jumped so high, he sailed right over it. He landed with a splash in a deep puddle, sending water flying everywhere. But he didn't care. He shook himself dry and raced off again, nearly tripping over his own paws in his excitement. The kite dipped behind a tall hedge, and Biscuit followed, squeezing through a gap in the branches. He found himself in a small, secluded area of the park, a perfect place for a picnic. And indeed, there on a checkered blanket lay several sandwiches, some fruit, and a bottle of lemonade. Biscuit sat down heavily, panting, and looked around. "Hello? Is anyone here?" he called. No answer came except for the rustling of leaves in the wind. So Biscuit decided to take a little rest before continuing his game of chase. He lapped up some lemonade, then munched on a sandwich. It was delicious, and as he ate, he couldn't help but feel a sense of calm wash over him. This quiet spot was lovely, and he felt grateful for the break. But just as he was finishing his snack, the kite peeked out from behind the hedge, and Biscuit's ears perked up. With a happy bark, he set off again, racing back to the open area where he had left his friends. "Biscuit, wait up," called Rosie, hopping along as fast as she could. But Biscuit was too quick for her. He turned around and saw her struggling to keep up. He slowed down and trotted back to her, panting. "Are you okay, Rosie?" he asked, noticing that she was out of breath. "Yes, I'm fine," she gasped. "Just a little tired. Can we take a break now?" "Okay," said Biscuit, leading her to a nearby tree. They sat down under its shade, and soon Sammy and Tweety joined them, also a little tired from the chase. "Let's take a rest before we go after the kite again," suggested Sammy, wiping sweat from his forehead with a leaf. But just as they settled down, the kite dipped low overhead, and Biscuit bolted after it once more. He raced across the park, dodging people and pets, leaping over bushes and splashing through puddles. The others watched him go, shaking their heads with a mixture of amusement and fondness. "That dog never gives up," said Tweety, chuckling. They started after him, and soon the park echoed with their laughter and the sound of their paws hitting the ground. The chase continued until the kite finally landed on the other side of a wide stream. Biscuit, eager to end the game, plunged right into the water. He paddled toward the far shore, shivering as the cold water splashed around him. He shook himself off, then raced toward the kite. It wasn't there. Instead, he found a small, muddy puddle. Biscuit looked around, confused, then sniffed the ground. He could smell the kite, but it seemed to have vanished. Suddenly, the wind picked up, swirling around him. The trees swayed, and Biscuit flattened his ears against his head. A loud crack of thunder echoed in the distance, and the first raindrops began to fall. "Oh dear, it's gonna rain," he whimpered, looking up at the darkening sky. As if on cue, the clouds opened up and a torrent of water poured from the sky. Biscuit shook his head, trying to get the water out of his ears. He glanced back at the place where he had seen the kite. Perhaps it was still there. Maybe he could find it if he ran back and told his friends to meet him there. He turned to go, but slipped on a patch of mud, sending him sprawling on his back. As he struggled to get himself upright, he noticed something in the grass. It was a string from the kite, and it was stuck in a tangle of weeds. Curious, he went closer and sniffed it. Then he gave it a little tug. To his surprise, the kite wasn't stuck in the weeds. It was stuck on him. He had run into it and gotten it tangled in his fur while he had been chasing it. Carefully, he untangled the string, then shook himself, sending the kite floating away on the breeze. He watched it go, feeling a pang of disappointment. He had wanted to play more, but then he heard a giggle and turned to see Rosie, Sammy, and Tweety staring at him, their eyes sparkling with amusement. "You got the kite stuck on you," said Sammy, barely able to contain his laughter. "Oh, it's not funny," Biscuit mumbled, embarrassed. "It is funny," Rosie said, still giggling. "But come on, let's go home now. It's getting late." And with that, they all started back toward home, their laughter echoing through the park. Biscuit walked between his friends, feeling happy and content. He might not have caught the kite, but he had had an amazing adventure. And that, he knew, was the best part of all. As they neared Biscuit's house, he slowed down, thinking about the day's adventure. The kite had been like a giant, magical bird, and he had chased it all over the park. He remembered the thrill of the chase, the joy of playing with his friends, and the satisfaction of a job well done. He turned to his friends, his eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you for playing with me today," he said. "It was the best adventure ever." "Anytime, Biscuit," said Rosie, nudging him with her shoulder. "Just don't get lost next time." "I won't," Biscuit promised, wagging his tail. And with that, they all went their separate ways, each one carrying the memory of a fun-filled day in the park back in the park. The wind picked up again, and the bright, colorful kite danced and twirled in the sky, ready for a new adventure.